Hi, welcome back. I'm so excited to see how many of you joined us. And thanks to everyone who's participated in our Facebook conversation. It's not too late to join us in the group link provided in the email. This week we've been talking about some things that might be getting in our way and how those same things could also help us achieve great things. Today we're going to talk about some mind shifts that I've used to help me get out of my own way. There are at least three major factors that affect our development. One is biological, or what we're born with. One is social, or environmental. And the other is what I like to call mindset. I see at least two types of mindset. One is our purpose and direction based on our deepest values. And the other is what Carol Dweck likes to call fixed or growth mindset. A fixed mindset bases all of our success on existing talents and abilities, whereas a growth mindset asserts that we can always learn to do better. In Dweck's research, she found that success was actually based more on a growth mindset than it is on our talents and abilities. So what can you do if you already have a fixed mindset? There are a few steps that you can take that can help lead you towards a more growth mindset. The first thing to do is to recognize when you're having fixed mindset thoughts. If you think things like, I just am no good at that, or I don't have any talent, then that's probably a fixed mindset. Then recognize that you have a choice in how you think about it. And once you've recognized that choice, you can choose to talk back to that fixed mindset voice in a more growth mindset voice, saying things like, if you work hard enough, you'll get better. And then finally, you can take a growth mindset action. So do something to grow yourself in that area. For me, I had a fixed mindset around my job. I was extremely good at being a school psychologist, and I really didn't think that I could be self-employed because I'm just too scattered. I really thought that I needed the external structure of a job to tell me when things were due so that I would follow through. Since I've started this coaching business, I've been very consistent with getting blog posts every week for the last 6 months or so. And I've surprised myself with my ability to follow through. I know you have a lot of potential, so it's understandable that you would want to do great things. But you also have to remember that your highly sensitive side needs a little extra care and TLC. It is important to be a good role model for self-care for those you love. And it also helps you to better care for others. It's also been shown that happy people are actually more successful. I once heard a saying that you should never compare your insides to other people's outsides. I always hear about how people see other people doing so much, and they seem to be doing way more than them. But I can assure you that those people probably feel the same way about someone else. The best advice I ever got in my internship was that as a school psychologist, I should be a good role model for mental health. And part of that meant not overworking myself and taking care of myself so that other people can see how to take care of themselves. When a grain of sand in the bathtub irritates you to no end, it's very tempting to start ignoring your body. Believe me, I know. But the thing is, if you don't listen to your body, it's bound to come back sometime and scream this time. For me, it did that through the chronic pain of fibromyalgia and constant adrenal fatigue. The thing is, if you keep pushing your body to the limits, it's likely to crash. In my work, I'd push through the work week, and then as soon as I'd get a break, my body would crash and I would get headaches and dizziness, which made it very hard for me to get anything else done. One of my favorite relationship books of all time is How to Be an Adult in Relationships by David Richo. In that book, he talks about listening to your inner trio, your head, your heart, and your gut. I think we're inclined to first listen to our head, but I think that can often lead us astray. I also believe that people often confuse their heart and their gut, and they follow something they think is their gut when it's really their heart. To me, the key to following your gut is that it comes from a peaceful place deep inside. If you're following something out of fear, it's probably not your gut. It might be your heart or your head coming up with excuses. In my life, I found that after my divorce, I had a couple of relationships with some pretty awesome guys. The first one, there was something in my gut that just wasn't working. My heart really wanted to make it work, but I just wasn't feeling it. The second one was pretty fantastic, and my head saw all the ways in which he was great. But there was still something at a gut level that just didn't feel right, and it was draining my energy. Now I'm in a relationship with someone who my gut level knew that it was somehow right, even though my head and my heart kind of questioned it for a while. But I kept coming back to that peaceful place inside of me, and now all three are in agreement. When you feel and react to things in extremes, moderation can be a challenge. But if you're always approaching things with an all or nothing mentality, it's going to be hard to get things done. I found this especially true when it came to my eating. At one point, I found that when I went on a low-carb diet, I lost a lot of weight and I actually gained some energy. But that was just not a sustainable way of eating. And anytime I'd have one high-carb food, I would just throw the whole thing out. It wasn't until I tried a paleo diet that I really found a major difference in my energy level that was more sustainable. And as I tried reintroducing foods, I got to know how I reacted to them. So now I'm not on a 100% paleo diet, but probably about 80%. And I'm more aware of how things make me feel. So rather than throwing things out because I eat something that's not on my list, I take more consideration in what I do put in my body. And when I put in something that doesn't feel quite right, I note that for next time. If you're highly excitable, it's likely that what you see as your greatest excesses are in fact your greatest assets. You're probably capable of great problem solving, innovation, creative expression, dynamic leadership, or emotional connection. The problem comes when you try to suppress that excitability or let it get out of control. The key is to harness the power of your intensity so that you can use it for good. I know for me, I always felt like I talked too much and lacked a filter. But I realized that part of that is because I have a much higher tolerance for the truth than others and tend to be a very open person. That openness enables me to really connect with others and to increase my capacity for compassionate communication. It's really helpful when we can find the things that will create the maximum amount of impact for the least amount of effort. I know this seems like a no-brainer, but oftentimes we spend our time doing the things we think we should be doing that aren't really giving us much of a result. I know personally, I always thought of myself as having very low willpower. But when I found something that really worked, I was pretty good at sticking with it. Those neck stretches I mentioned in the last video got rid of my chronic headaches, and I did them pretty religiously for 5 years. Eating paleo really helped increase my energy, and although now I'm not 100% because I'm not black and white about it, I'm pretty good about listening to my body and not eating things that I know will irritate me. Today we talked about mind shifts that you can use to get out of your own way. Next week we'll talk about some actions that you can take to balance and simplify your life, as well as a 4-step process that I use to help point me in the right direction. Be sure to check your email or Facebook group to participate in the conversation and share your insights.